One of the first questions that women ask me about Panama City, Panama, is not about the food, not about the culture, not about like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Honestly, I would say the top question is how are the men there? So, I wanted to share my experiences with how it's been dating in Panama City, Panama. So I've been here about, I would say 9 weeks now, and I've had a couple of dates. And while they were not the fairy tale ending, I would say they both were very educational, to say the least. So I got on Bumble when I arrived here. I had heard some really good things about Bumble. I tried it before back in the States, but it didn't work out. So I wanted to try it here. I'm in another country. I wanted to experience everything that I could experience. So got on Bumble, matched with quite a few men, mainly Panamanian men. Not really any like expat men or men from America. It was mainly like local Panamanians. So I matched with quite a few men, chatted, and the thing that I really notice about the men here in Panama is they're quick. So I would match with the guy and we would chat, and immediately he's asking me, like, what do you need? Or when do you want to go out? And honestly, I'm not used to that. When I tried the dating apps back in Houston, they just were not going anywhere. You would have a lot of guys that would just want to chat on the apps. They never would ask you out. So being in Panama City and getting asked out quite a few times was very interesting. I enjoyed chatting with the men, but I wanted to go out and see how it was in real life. So I matched with a couple of guys. There were two in particular that I was interested in. We had some really good chat or text conversations on the app, and they did ask me out. So, the first date or the first guy, he is also an expat, I guess you would say. He said he's from Jamaica. He did have an accent, so I do believe that. We chatted on the app for about maybe a week and a half, and he was very persistent with asking me out. I always had something to do, like I always had like an event to go to, an activity, whatever the case may be. So I couldn't always go out when he wanted to. So, again, chatted on the app. He seemed to be really cool. Just somebody that I wanted to meet in person to see if the chat would translate in person. So we set a date, and we met at a pizzeria, local pizzeria, and he looked just like his pictures in the app. Nice looking Jamaican man, very tall, chocolate, all of the things. So we go into the restaurant, and instantly the vibe was very comfortable. Like I felt comfortable talking to him for some reason. And we started sharing, our stories. So his story was very similar to mine. He told me that he left Jamaica in search of just something new, just something different to do with his life. And I told him, I did the same thing recently. I left America in search of something new, in search of freedom. So we really connected on that. And he talked about how he was like an empath and he loves nature and all of the things. And I really enjoyed talking to him like I did in the app. So, it's going really well. We're chatting for about 30 minutes about, just casual things. And we both get into like our dating history. So he goes first. And he said that he is looking for a relationship. And I asked him, how many kids does he have? And the reason why I asked him that is because I know he had kids, but I never asked him how many kids he had. So he tells me he has three children, ages 10, 9, and 2. So I asked him, how many moms do you have? And he gave me like a, ugh. And he said, I have three moms. And he immediately said, I know a lot of women are not going to accept that, and I understand, but, let me tell you about how our relationship is. So he briefly goes into like his co-parenting situation with each of the women. He says the 10-year-old mom, they're cool, they have a good co-parenting relationship. He claims that, oh, I don't even talk to the baby mom because my son is 10 years old, so I talk to him. And then the same thing with the 9 year old. He said, I don't talk to the mom, I talk directly to my daughter, blah, blah, blah. Sounds good, right? He gets to the third baby mama. That story was a little more in depth, I would say. He had a little more details. And he says that, it was a good relationship, but it went really quickly. And, we didn't really build the foundation for a successful relationship. And, I met her, and about 2 months later, she got pregnant, and we got married, and blah, blah, blah. And then he casually slips in. So, in Jamaica, you have to be married for 2 years before you file for a divorce. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I have no idea. But he said that, we had to wait the 2 years, and, since it just wasn't working, we just separated. I said, oh, okay. So you are not a single man. You are still very married. And he said, I am. But in my mind, I am single. I said, but legally, you are still very married. And I prefer any man that I date, mingle with, whatever, to be single. You're not just single in your mind. I need you to be single on paper, too. So he goes into, I respect that. And I know a lot of women are not going to understand, but, we're not together and we haven't been together since the birth of our child, blah, 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 blah. All the things that, maybe some women would accept. But I said, no, I'm sorry. Actually, I didn't say I'm sorry. But I said, that's just not going to work for me. Like, I can't move forward. I don't want to even really talk to you anymore because you're very married. Like, why are you on a dating app? And not only that, like, why did you not mention that you were married? We chatted on the app for about a week and a half and never mentioned that at all. And a part of me, just a very small part, kind of blames myself because maybe I should have asked. Maybe I should have asked if he was truly single, but my assumption is that, most people on dating apps are going to be single, especially if you're persistently asking me out and you tell me that you want a relationship. To me, that's the behavior of a single man, not just single in your mind, but single on paper too. So he continues to give it a little more details. I started the process. It's going, and I said, so when did you start the process to divorce? And he says in September. Oh, this past September, not last September. And he said, yeah. So it's only been a couple months since he has started the process to get divorced. So, needless to say, after that revelation, that date did not last. I just straight up told him again, like, no, that's not going to work for me. I don't know why you didn't share that with me before you just wasted my time. Like, I paid for an Uber to get here and I paid for an Uber to get back. Like, you wasted my time and my money when you could have just told me this, through the app. So I don't talk to him anymore. He is blocked. I blocked him as soon as I walked out. And that was that. That was date number one. Again, these are my experiences. So I'm not saying that there's men wandering around, Panama City trying to trick women because they're all married. That is not what I mean at all. But again, that was my first date here. It didn't end on a good note, but it was a very educational very educational experience, and it taught me to just ask more direct questions. Who would have thought that, I had to ask a man if he was married on a dating app, but I guess I do. So my second date was with a local Panamanian man. He said that he was born and raised in Panama City, and we matched on Bumble, and we chatted very casually on the app for about a couple of days, and he asked me out. So again, chatting on the app, very casual, just, what do you do? What do you like? Where are you from? Just nothing in depth. And you'll understand why I'm kind of highlighting that. So We met up about 2 days later at a local spot that he picked out. When I met up with him or when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's very handsome man. He looked just like his pictures look, which I'm always happy when that happens, just like the pictures. So the date got off a little awkward. He seemed to be a little, I don't know, reserved or standoffish or whatever, but it only took about maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes or so for him to kind of loosen up. And we had a really good conversation. We talked for about 3 hours at the restaurant about everything. He said that he thought his English was bad. And I'm like, no, you're doing really well. Like, we had a whole conversation. Like, I didn't have to help him or figure out what he was saying or anything. And he was well traveled, had a master's degree, no kids, all of the things that women say they want. He had them, so he said. So again, really good conversation, very casual conversation, nothing in depth, nothing that would give me like a red flag about him. So 3 hours later, we depart, and I was looking forward to meeting up with him again. I was like, oh, that went really well. This could be, if nothing else, it could be a really good friend or just someone to hang out with, because I do want to get to know some local people here in Panama City and not just people like me. So, we departed, and, we texted goodnight later on, and I didn't hear from him again until maybe 6 days later or so, which was fine with me. Like, we didn't have to talk every single day. And he asked me out again. And I think that I was doing something that day, so I couldn't hang out with him. So we still chatted on the app. Again, actually, not the app. We chatted on WhatsApp, but very casual, like nothing in depth, nothing sexual, nothing that would give me a red flag. And that went on for maybe another week or so. And then we finally found the time where we could meet up. So, again, I casually asked him, I don't really know what to do. You're the local. How about you pick somewhere that I've never been and I can meet you there? So it was raining that day. And I told him, maybe we can just reschedule, because I just don't like really going out in the rain for whatever reason. I like to just stay home. So I asked him, I said, so I told him we can meet up another day because it's raining. And he responds, how about wine and sex tonight? I didn't know what to say. I stared at that text for about 20, 30 seconds, because I didn't know where that even came from. Because again, going back to our conversations on Bumble and then our conversations outside of Bumble and when we met up at the restaurant, we didn't talk about anything like that at all. Like, it was no sexual talk. It was nothing like that. It was, what do you do? Where do you go? Where have you traveled to? He's very well traveled, like I am, just very casual. So I really sat and I just looked at it like, so I didn't respond immediately. I called a friend and I asked her, well, I told her, she had been hearing about this guy for the past 2 weeks. And I told her, the local Panamanian guy that I was, really interested in getting to know, he texted me that, instead of going out, since it's raining, how about I just come over and we just do wine and sex? And she did the same sigh that I did. Like, why? Just why? Um, so I finally responded to him about 20 minutes later. And I told him that, that was disrespectful. I don't know where that came from, but we never had a conversation that alluded to that. It was very casual, and, that was not appropriate to say to me. And it took him a while to respond. Immediately, usually I would block a man, but I really wanted to see what he had to say. And he just said sorry. That was it. So, needless to say, that is another date that did not go as planned. But like I said, these are totally my experiences. These probably won't be, every woman's experience here, but unfortunately, they were mine. And it has just taught me to, I guess, be more direct. It's showing me the things that I want and the things that I don't want, and just ask more questions, and be clear on what a man wants, and if he's single, and all of the things that I probably missed, or maybe I didn't miss, but I just wanted to share those experiences. It is really unfortunate that I had them. They didn't get off, they didn't end well, but I still think that they were just very helpful in me getting clarity about how to move forward and how to just date, how to date, period. I probably I don't really date, so this was just really a really good learning experience for me, because you just never know. You put yourself out there and you wish for the best, but it just always doesn't go as planned. So there you have it. Those are my two experiences here in Panama City, Panama, with dating. And I would say dating here is like dating anywhere else. It's not better. It's I don't know if it's not even worse or whatever, but it's an experience. So you just have to take the lessons and move on. So if you're interested in hearing more about my adventures, my solo adventures as I travel abroad, subscribe and follow me, and wait for my next video to see what I'm doing or where I'm going next.